Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Favors Flavor. My name is Favor. I'm so happy to see you guys today. Today's video is about my first book haul of 2026. I know it's June, but I did not buy any books from January to April, and that was one of my reading goals for the year. I'll link up the video if you guys are curious on what my goals were. I have about 17 books to show you guys, so I don't think that's bad for like the first 6 months of the year. I also have 5 books to show you guys that I'm planning to unhaul. I hope you guys can leave your thoughts down below on whether I should keep these books or not. And at the end of the video, I'll be showing you my current book collection slash reading space, because my plan for the fall time is to revamp my reading space that isn't really a reading space right now, but I'll take whatever advice and thoughts you guys have. I have the books that I got set up into 3 or 4 piles just so I can remember where I got them from. So the first book I technically got for the year was Score by Kennedy Ryan. If you guys are not new to my channel, if you've watched my last 2 videos, I've talked about this book in so much depth. I don't think I need to talk about it again. But I did get it from the indie bookstore. I did attend an author's event, so I got my copy at the author's event and directly from the indie black owned bookstore here in North Carolina. So this is definitely a book that I definitely love having in my collection, and I can't wait to get more of Kennedy Ryan's books. I at least have to have like 8 or 9. So I can't wait to keep adding to my collection. If you guys that are under a rock and haven't heard of this book, just click on my 2 videos before this one where I talk about literally just this book. So that's this one. The next book that I got was from Amazon, and this is a book that I wanted to get last year. And this book is Neighbors and Other Stories by Diane Oliver. This is a book that I initially heard about from Favorite Reader. I don't remember what time last year she talked about this book, and that's when the book piqued my interest. And the nice thing about this book, it's a collection of short stories. I do enjoy short stories. If you don't, maybe it's not for you. But I feel like as someone that is still dipping my toes into like historical fiction, especially like American historical fiction, I would be able to like manage short stories starting out before I start reading like the 4, 5, 600 page like historical fiction-esque books. This book, I'll just read like a short blurb on what this is. It says, these are incisive and intimate portraits of African American families in everyday moments of anxiety and crisis that look at how they use agency to navigate their predicaments. As much as a social and historical document as it is a thought engrossing collection, Neighbors is an exceptional literary feat from a crucial once lost figure of letters. I definitely am excited to read it. Plus the book being like green, I don't know, there's just something about this that I hope I do enjoy. So that's the second book. Now we're going to go to my Barnes & Noble collection. I also talked about this book in my last video where I did my yearly reading wrap up so far, and that is A Summer for the Books by Michelle Lindo Rice. I talked about this book in more depth in that video. It's a book about friendships, female friendship. So if that's something you're looking forward into that like happens during the summer, it's not a book that I'm gonna be like, go and get this book. No, it was, I think I rated this book like a 3 or 3.25 stars. It was definitely like a middle of the road book for me. Again, not a bad book, but I could have possibly done without it. So continuing in my Barnes & Noble collection, the most recent book that I acquired was Wash Day Diaries by Jamila Rouser and Robin Smith. This is a graphic novel. Like really, really pretty. And again, just like the Neighbors book, I heard about this book last year. It's been in my Amazon wish list. And then the person that triggered me to buy it was Kayla's Bookish Vibes. I believe she just read this book last year. So last month. So when I saw her like read it, I was like, yeah, I wanted to read this book. And this might be like my entry into the graphic novel world, because I've started looking into more graphic novels. And if you guys have any recommendations, I'll totally get it. This is an adult book, so this is not like a teenage book, so just be careful about that. It is about four friends. It literally says meet Davine, Nisha, Kim, and Cookie, four ride or die best friends. And as the name implies, wash day. So if you guys are, if you're black and have natural hair or maybe not natural hair, but you understand the whole experience of wash day, you would enjoy this. I truly, truly enjoyed this. So the next book I got, actually the next two books I got, my partner got them for me, and I'm so excited because one of them I've already read, and that's something else that I want to talk about. It's been so much easier for me not to buy books this year because as you see as I go, at least almost half of the books that I got are books that I've already read. I have too many books that I just got because I could get them. Now I'm trying to read from the library first, or maybe read on Kindle first. Just making sure that I actually like the book. It's only a few authors that I are actually auto buys for me, so I'm not wasting space on my shelf and I'm not wasting money buying books that I don't know if I'm gonna like. The next book I got was Leave Your Mess at Home by Tanya Canola. I talked about this book in my last video. My plan is still to read it this month, but we'll see if that actually happens. But either way, this is a book that I should be reading this summer, and I can't wait to read it. If you guys are, again, this is a book that I feel like at least most of the YouTubers that I watch have talked about it. It's a really, really, really good book, and I highly recommend it. It's about four siblings. They're Nigerian American. Again, I'm Nigerian, so just trying to like read more books about stuff that I can actually relate to or more likely to enjoy. So that's this book. The next book I got, which if you guys have been watching my videos since last year, you will not be surprised. That is Love by the Book by Jessica George. I have a whole video dedicated on Jessica George if you guys haven't watched that video. And this is a book that definitely changed my reading perspective last year. Definitely one of my top 5 books of last year. Yeah, I definitely had to get my own copy. And this is a book that I think I might reread in the future for sure. This is a book also about friendships. This was the first book I read about friendships that like it did something to my brain chemistry. I was like, I need more books about friendships, especially when it comes to like black women friendships, and also of a certain age. The age range of the book of the characters talked about in this book was just like chef's kiss. I can't wait for more books from Jessica George, and more books like this, basically. So now we're gonna go on to my book outlet pal. I actually had two separate orders. I don't know, how do you guys know when they're gonna do the $5.99 sale? Because the first pile I'm gonna show you I actually bought before the $5.99 sale, and then the second half was during the $5.99 sale. So I'm gonna go with the first set. The first book in the first set of book outlet books was People Person by Candace Carty Williams. I know this is the author that wrote Queenie. I still haven't read Queenie, but I heard that a lot of people have compared Queenie to Mame by Jessica George, and I don't know if I want to like read it, but I do know the sequel of Queenie comes out this year. I think it's called like Queenie is Still Working on It or something like that. And I know there's a Hulu show on Queenie. When I'm getting better with my reading, I might revisit that. But she's definitely an author that I was like, I do want to try a book of hers because of how popular Queenie was. I don't think I've heard a lot of people talk about this book, but the cover definitely intrigued me. It says, if you could choose your family, you wouldn't choose the Penningtons. One father, four mothers, five children. Yep, so this is definitely a book that's going to give like domestic fiction, family saga type of situation. A blurb here says a dark comedy full of zinging dialogue, vivid characters, and all the constellations and complications of family. A treat. Yep, and it's not a big book, so I'm definitely excited to get to this. Plus, I don't know, something about this cover just made me want to get the book regardless, so that's this book. The next book I have is a book that I read last year, and that is Dominion by Addie E. Kitchens. I think it was like November or so. I got a copy from the library. That's how I read this book, from the library. And this was a book that It was so interesting, even though I was so pissed off by the book. Like, I believe I rated this book like a 3.25 stars. Like, but it was just something about the book that I was like, I need my own copy. And obviously back then I wasn't gonna pay almost $30 for this book, but I believe when I got it from Book Outlet, it was like $8.99 or $9.99 for a hardcover. So I was like, of course. At that price, I definitely wouldn't mind adding to my collection. Okay, let me just read the last blurb. It says, a brilliantly crafted black southern family drama told with captivating force, humor, and tenderness carried in the hearts of these women. Dominion wrestles with the many brutal, sinister ways in which we are shaped by fear and patriarchy and studies how we might yet choose to break free. This is definitely a book that I'm just like, the author did what she had to do, but I would have loved a little more because where it left off, I'm just like, what just happened? And if you're going to read it, I would advise you to also listen to it because the whole audiobook, it's a whole production. This is definitely a book that, even though I didn't rate the highest, it did what it had to do, okay? So the next book I got from Book Outlet is one that I found out about last year. There are two books. I believe it's November is like Native American month, something like that. On basically Goodreads had the thing where it showed a bunch of Native American books and authors, and that's a genre of books I'm like, I wouldn't mind getting into. So there were two books, and this is one of them, and it's called Legendary Fry Bread Drive-In. It's a collection of short stories edited by Cynthia Smith, and again, I love short story collections, especially for genres and stories that I'm not used to. I believe this book has stories by 17 authors, and I can see about like two popular Native American authors right here that I've heard of, and I'm just excited to read this book. I think it might be YA, but I'm not sure, but it's a collection of interconnected stories, so that's nice, and I can't wait to read it once I get to that point. If you guys have more like Native American books, stories that you think I'll enjoy, please put them down in the comment section below. So that's this one. Another book that I got that reminds me just like Dominion that I read last year was The Wilderness by Angela Flournoy. This is a book about friendships, but the group of friends discussed in this book are like in their 40s, I want to say. This is also a book that had like a really weird ending. At the time, the copy I did read was from my library, and I believe I got like the advanced listening copy as well. I talked about it last year. And I think I also read this book like a 3.25 or 3.5. Not a bad book, but the way the book was like, it was a lot of back and forth, and I don't know. I need to like look up my review of this book again. If you guys are not new to like the Black reading space, you've probably heard of this book in the last like year or so. It says The Wilderness is Angela Flournoy's masterful and kaleidoscope follow-up to her critically acclaimed debut, The Turner House. A generational talent, she captures with discerning wit and electric language how the most profound connections over a lifetime can lie in the tangled, uncertain thicket of friendship. Yeah, another book about friendship. We're gonna see more books about friendships, and I'm not complaining, okay? I just need them to be good. So this is a book that I would definitely recommend for people that are like 10 or 20 years older than me. They probably enjoyed a lot more than I did. Not a bad book. One that the cover really beautiful. I was like, you know what? For $8.99 or $9.99, I don't mind having my own copy. Plus, buying books that I've already read just means more books on my collection that is not adding to my TBR. So the last book I got in this stack of my Book Outlet order is Akweke Mezi's Little Rot. And they go by they, them, so I need to remember that. However, I have like 3 or 4 of their books, and I haven't read one. I think I might do something similar like I did with the Jessica George video from last year. I don't know if it's going to be a reading vlog or like a sit-down video like the one I did for Jessica George, but I definitely want to read their books. I've heard too many good things about their books, and she's Nigerian, she's queer, they're definitely someone that doesn't like conform to like a box. Their books are all like different in a way, They have YA, they have adult books, so I can't wait to get into their books. And this is just like a really, really beautiful cover, plus hardcover, and I think I also got it for about like $7 to $10. So even without the like $5.99 sale when I got this tag, none of the books were over $9.99. So now we're gonna go to the set of books that I got from the $5.99 sale. I didn't get a lot, but I'm happy with what I got. So the first book I got was No Longer at Ease by Chinua Achebe. So I already have the other two books in what they're called the African Trilogy. The other two books in the African Trilogy is Things Fall Apart and Arrow of God. And this is No Longer at Ease. I definitely just wanted to complete a collection. I haven't read the other two books yet, but I was like, you know what? $5.99, Chinua Achebe. He's definitely like a founding father of African literature, at least Nigerian literature. But I believe I could say that he's a founding father of African literature. And eventually, these are books that I want to get to. Thankfully, they're not big at all. I don't even think, yeah, they're not even 200 pages. Actually, I don't know if you guys can see. This is the African Trilogy collection. So I hope to get to it at some point. If not, these are books anyway that like they're like history, for Nigerians. If you know, you know. I hope my children and children's children, can hold on to books like this. So the next book I got it's a poetry book, Plantains and Are Becoming by Melania Luisa Marte. It's a really small book, poetry book. Let's see how many pages, about 150 pages. I'm not someone that reads a lot of poetry books, but I have enjoyed the ones that I've read. And as someone that's not reading as much as I used to, I think I'm really gonna enjoy reading poetry, graphic novels, just trying to diversify the books that I'm reading, so I don't fall into a reading slump. Because I would hate to fall into a reading slump like I did, earlier this year. So keeping some variety. And if you know me, I love plantains. So literally, even before I even knew what this book was about, I was just intrigued by the fact that there was plantains in the title. I believe it was also Shar. I think Shar has read this book. She's one of the few YouTubers that I watch, that like actually heavily reads poems and poetry books, talking about identities and histories of the Dominican Republic and Haiti to celebrate and center the Black diasporic experience. While I'm not from Dominican Republic or Haiti, I'm someone that's like from the diaspora, if you will, and I love books that talking about a different type of Black experience in America. So this will be nice to read. Again, this is a poetry book, pretty small. The name is Woman Eat Me Whole, poems by Ama Diaka. How many pages? It's not even 100 pages, 85. I could read this in one sitting. Just with the Plantains book, I wanted diversity. So poetry books that is talking about like the Black female experience. I couldn't tell you much else about it. I just know that the author herself is from Ghana and she moved to the United States. So that's definitely something that is going to be somewhat applicable to me. So that's this book. Well, almost there, guys. I have the last three books. So this is one that I added to my book out list, like save for later / love books. And I did not even realize this book was a graphic novel. Did not realize it. So when I did, I just, I told you guys I just read my first graphic novel. So I was like, oh, yeah, I have to get it. $5.99. I believe this might be like a YA book. Don't know if it's YA. Whatever. YA or not, this is a book that I feel like is going to teach me about other people's culture. The name of this book is Silenced Voices by Pablo Leon. This is a book that I don't think I've seen or heard anybody talk about, but it is a graphic novel. Let me see if I can show you guys some pictures. Yep, that's it. And it's not big at all either. About 240 pages, but it's a graphic novel, so that probably translates to like half of the number of pages if it was a regular book. I believe this book talks about memories from the Guatemalan genocide, and that's definitely something that I have no clue about. But again, that's why we read, to educate ourselves. So that's this book. Can't wait to read it. If you guys have read any of the books that I'm talking about, don't forget to comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are on them. Okay, the second to last book that I got was Trevor Noah, Born a Crime. I'm not someone that reads a lot of memoirs, but this is definitely a book that, when it did first come out, I believe it was like 2017, 2018 when this book first came out. And Trevor Noah is someone that I'm familiar with. And I also did live in South Africa for a couple years, so I'm also familiar with some of the South African living experiences compared to like the regular person. And it's Trevor Noah. He's a funny guy. It talks about stories from his South African childhood, and obviously his story mainly focuses on growing up with a black mom, a white dad during apartheid, and all those kinds of things. And I just think this is something that I would enjoy. Most of the people that I know that I've read it enjoyed it. It's not a big book at all either. I believe, yeah, under 300 pages, and I believe I'll enjoy it once I get to read it. The last book is one that I talked about a lot last year. I honestly thought I would have read it last year. Surprised I didn't. But when I saw it on Good Outlet for $5.99, I was like, I'll be down. I definitely need to get it right now. And that is Birth of a Dynasty by Chinua Achebe. Most of us heard about this book from Kayla's Bookish Vibes. The second book in the series comes out later this year. I believe Kayla has already read it and she's like, it's one of her best books of the year. So I'm like, okay, if she's already reading the second book, I need to catch up. And after reading Blood Over Bright Haven, technically my first fantasy book, I was like, okay, I think I could do fantasy, but it has to be a specific type of fantasy. I can't do the dragons and the flying stuff. I feel like I need fantasy that's more lifelike, if that makes sense. And this is also, and I feel like most fantasy books are like 500-600 pages. Who has time for that? Definitely not me. This book is about 360 pages. The author is Nigerian. That already tells me that, I'm going to have some moments in the book that's going to make me enjoy the book even more just because of that. So that's all for my book talk. Quickly, let's get into the books that I think I want to unhaul. There's about 2 of them that there's a really good chance. Like if I keep them, it would just be to maybe have a color scheme on my shelf. But right now, these are the ones that I looked at my shelves and like, what books would I not even care if they weren't on my shelf anymore? And these were them. The first one is Love and Color by Bolu Babalala. And I talked about this book in my last video because it was one of the books that I started reading this year and did not finish. But I think I'm going to try to go back to it because, again, it's Bolu Babalala. She wrote one of my best favorite books last year, Sweet Heat. I also enjoyed Honey and Spice. So I had also gotten this book from Book Outlet sometime last year, hoping that I was going to have a similar experience to that, and that wasn't the case. It's a short story collection about love and mythical tales from around the world. The first story I remember it being good, but the next story I was like, I don't know. I'm going to give it a second chance. So this is like a maybe. We'll see. Maybe. This is one that is one of my stronger possibilities. And that is True Bees by Sarah Novick. This book I bought in one of my first book hauls on my channel and in my reading journey. It's about the deaf experience. So the main characters in this book are hard of hearing. It says this is a story of sign language and lip reading, disability and civil rights, isolation and injustice, first love and loss, and above all, great persistence, daring, and joy. Observant and assured, idiosyncratic and relatable, this is an unforgettable journey into the deaf community and a universal celebration of human connection. I tried to read the physical book. I tried the audiobook. It wasn't happening. And it's also YA leaning. I don't know what was it with the book. If you guys have read this book, please comment down below because I truly want to keep it, but it's not looking like if I keep it, I'm probably not gonna read it for another 5 years. I don't know. We'll see. But this is one of the books that I would like to unhaul. The next book is Yinka, Where's Your Husband by Lizzie Damlola Blackburn. This is a Nigerian author. This is a book that I feel like was probably popular like 4 or 5 years ago. And this book is one that I feel like if I was reading it back then, it probably would have, did a lot for me. But for right now, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this book. I haven't read it, and I literally never looked at this book and be like, you know what, that's the book that I plan to read next month or next week. So that's just the reason why this book is here. If you guys have read it and you had a good time with it, let me know. I don't think I'm going to want to read this book anytime soon, and with the amount of good books that I'm finding, I need to make space for books that I'm actually going to enjoy. So the next two are books that I actually did finish, did not like. I believe I rated these two books like under 3 stars, between a 2 and a 3 stars. The first one is Time of Your Life by Jessa Hastings. This book came out last year. It came out just about when I started my reading journey, and I remember picking it up because it was I literally bought it like the week of release, which was like, okay, Jessa Hastings, the whole Magnolia Park series is something that has a solid fan base. This book, no. No. I think I rated 2.75. Maybe somebody else that likes these kinds of books will enjoy it, because I don't even care to keep this on my shelf. Someone else can have it. So that's this one. The last book I have to show you guys today is A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. This is a book that if I keep it, it would be because it's a book that I feel like most people in the black reading community, they love Tia Williams. They love her book. As far as me though, I did not like this book. I believe this was a book that taught me that I don't like, what they call that? I don't know. I'll put it on the screen. There's a specific genre of books that this book taught me that I definitely don't like. I believe I rated like a 2.5 stars. Someone else in one of my book clubs did not like the book either. I actually am interested in reading her newest release. I believe it's a Misconnection. I'm on the queue at my library because, again, just because of my experience with this book, I didn't want to buy the whole book until I knew that it's a book that I would genuinely like. And most of the people that I followed that have read the book really enjoyed it. But that's pretty much it. Hello everyone, this is my current bookshelf. I just wanted to show you guys this because I don't think I've shown you guys much of my bookshelf or my book collection. As you can see, this current bookshelf, which isn't even really a bookshelf, but I turned into a bookshelf, it is like packed full. And this doesn't even include the books that I just bought and the ones that I'm planning to unhaul. So just want to show you guys. As you can see, this box right here, it's full of old books, so like the 90s, 2000s. I've heard a lot of people talk about Mary Monroe, and this is like the old copy of this. My friend, an older lady, basically gave me this box of books. Over here also is all like stacked full of like older books that I'm hoping that I can get to read, or at least, give to someone that's gonna read them. This box has my nonfiction books. I believe I have some more nonfiction books sitting around somewhere, and I still need to go through this. This was the Musical Instrumental Museum, and it has some art in it and all that. Definitely was a great experience when I visited Phoenix. That's basically all I wanted to show you guys with this area. The goal is to turn this space into a nice reading area come fall time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and book hauls are definitely not something I want to get used to doing a lot if I'm not reading at the same pace, because I feel like a lot of people just buy books just to buy books, which again, if that's you, do what you have to do if you got the money like that. But I hope people are being responsible about their book consumptions, because support your library. Even if you have a book, still go into your library. Libraries stay open because of people actually utilizing the resources in the libraries and visiting the libraries. So if you don't take anything away from this video, it is to use your libraries and your free resources before you go buy a $30 book from Barnes& and Noble. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and see you in my next one. Bye.